Hello everybody, Ben Woodruff here with the Hutchings Museum in Lehi, Utah. Now in our collection we have a wide range of things, including one of my favorites, which this is a bone from a dinosaur. The species is Camarasaurus, and you can see what the skull looks like over here too. This bone is the humorous bone from a true giant. Now the humorous bone is this one right here. You've got it on you as well, same bone. Now this bone is from not only a Camarasaurus, but a Camarasaurus is a type of sauropod. The sauropods are the largest life forms that the Earth has ever produced. There's some true giants. Now, when I was a kid, we were taught that sauropods walked with their legs spread out like a lizard. We were told they were cold-blooded and that they were so heavy and so unable to support their weight that they spent most of their time underwater, with their heads sticking up out of the water, and they just ate water plants because they were so heavy and bulky that they couldn't even support their own weight. That's what we were taught, and that's what early renditions showed. Turns out that's not the case at all. They had pillar-like legs that were just like columns that supported their weight directly underneath. And some of them were grazers and some of them were browsers. Grazers are eating things on the ground. Browsers are eating things in the trees like pine cones and needles and leaves and branches, things like that. Different way of life. So a grazer has to be able to put their head down. Diplodocus is one of the most famous, and it appears to have been a grazer, eating ferns off the ground. Now on the other hand, Camarasaurus was a browser, and it was eating things out of the trees and had some of the earliest forms of protomolars. If you look at its teeth, you can see they're actually really good for breaking down tough woody material, where the teeth of Diplodocus are very gentle and delicate and are just meant for stripping off the fern fronds. Now, if we want to know what this animal looked like, we can get a better idea. Let's take a look at the skeleton of its very close cousin, Moabosaurus. Now, Moabosaurus is about the same size and same shape and is a very, very close cousin. These dinosaurs were not enormous. They're huge by today's standards compared to anything alive today, but they weren't giants in the sense of like Brachiosaurus or Argentinosaurus, some of these true giants. But these were stocky, firm. You know, some of these were very willowy and long. These dinosaurs, Camarasaurus was not the tallest and not the longest. It was built solid, and it was built again to eat leaves out of trees. Now we actually have access to a fossil of a baby Camarasaurus. When we take a look at this one, this is on display at the BYU Dinosaur Museum, and you can see it's articulated in a way that you can see this was not a long stretched out sauropod. Most sauropods are, but the Camarasaurus, even as a baby, was still built quite stocky. Now, the feet of these dinosaurs, something we need to talk about, because sometimes dinosaur shows will have dinosaurs, will have like, I remember there's one where they show Argentinosaurus walking along, and every step it makes a big old huge thunderous. That's not how they walked. We know that for a fact because if you are walking like that and slamming down, then that shock wave of putting that much weight down onto the ground is going to pretty quickly destroy all your joints and your bones. You can't have a shock wave. So what we look like is we compare it to modern animals. When we compare this to modern elephants are our largest land animal today. They don't, they are super gentle. The feet of an elephant, they walk on their tiptoes and they have a fatty pad underneath, and so it squishes down, and they're very gentle. They're very stealthy. If you've ever been near an elephant, when they're walking, they're silent. They're absolutely silent. They're sneaky. Because if they did a big, huge impact, that's going to destroy them. So we see the same thing with the feet of sauropods. We're going to take a look here at a photogrammetry scan I did of a Diplodocus. And if you look at the foot, you can see it's no different than an elephant. The toes, they walk on their tiptoes, and they had a fatty pad underneath, just like elephants do. So you don't have to redesign the wheel every time. If you have the same problem, same solution. The problem is you're very heavy. That much weight can cause a lot of damage to bones or even to skin pressure. So, build a big old fatty tissue underneath the foot, and then have a big, thick pad on the bottom that you walk on. And that works. So Camarasaurus is one of the coolest dinosaurs, and we love to share and teach about it here at the Hutchings Museum. If you'd like to come and see these in person, we're at 55 North Center Street in Lehi, Utah, and we'd love to have you out. But always remember that life is a gift. So never stop learning and never stop exploring. We'll see you next time.